Class is in session. Today, we are going to talk about how you cannot drop your standards to match the environment that you're in, and how to keep your frequency vibrating up here, even if everything around you is way down here, because you owe it to yourself to live your life according to your standards, your dreams, and your calling and God's will for you. Not his will for everybody else, not everybody else's issues, problems, struggles, abuses, blah, 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 blah. It's you. This is your life, and you owe it to yourself to show up accordingly. But first, hi guys, it's Grace. Welcome back to another episode of Eternal Grace. I am so thankful that I can talk to you today. It's been too long, but imposter syndrome is so out, and I'm a creator. Period. So I'm creating. Duh. When you're functioning in an environment that doesn't serve you the way that you need to be served, that doesn't pour into you the way that you need to be poured into, and that drains your cup instead of filling it, sometimes it's easy to drop your action and your standards to match, because you're living in contrast and this like contrarian existence to what's surrounding you. And I'm telling you about this because it's been too long since we've talked. Like, it may have been a month. But why is that? I've had video ideas. I've had my phone. I've been living. I haven't chatted with you because I'm living in an environment that does not inspire my creativity, and in fact mutes it and kind of dulls it, because I'm in an environment that hasn't encouraged my existence and individuality for a long time. You know, this is actually something I did when I was a kid. Let me show you that toucan. I did that in art lessons because when I was younger, my parents were actually really about like inspiring me to creativity and extracurriculars. And I'm really thankful for that, because those first 10 years of my life, I knew who I was. Like, I thought of myself as an artist. But in the last 10 years, there's been so much pulling me and sucking me away, that's been like leeching off of my energy, to the point where being creative is like the last thing on my mind, right? It's kind of like you're doing your budget, right? And you want this, you want that, you want the third thing. But then you're like, wait, gas, food, bills, you know, and things start to like kind of dwindle in their priority because other things need to happen. When you're living in a state of survival, it's easy to fall into that. And I definitely have been there. But something that the Lord's been revealing to me as of late is that just because I am in this environment does not mean that I need to be a dulled version of me in this environment. Previously, it did, because I was in a state of survival. But part of transitioning from survival to thriving is showing up as the version of you that is thriving despite being in the struggle environment. And so we're not all in control of our environment. It's wonderful when you are, when you can be somewhere that supports you, that feeds into you and helps you thrive. But that's not every season of life. Sometimes you're going to be somewhere where you feel more stuck, where you feel shadowed or sheltered in a way that you don't want to be. And those times aren't forever. It's only a season, which is really important to keep in mind. But because it's only a season, the seeds that you plant now within yourself will help you in the next stage, when you are where you want to be, when you are in the environment that supports you in that season. Because the version of you that's receiving that will have all of the progress from the version of you that was where I am now, right? I think I've mentioned a few times on this channel that, you know, I live with my parents and I'm looking forward to moving out. I don't have a date yet, but the Lord has been like imprinting on my heart for upwards of a year now that the moving season is coming. It's preparation time. And when he tells me it's time to move, it will be time to move. Like, when everything aligns and I don't feel the hesitancy in my heart right now, and in my life, like in the physical, that, okay, I still have to be here, it will be time to go. And when I go, I'm going to be taking this me with me. Does that make sense? So you could be at a job right now that you hate, right? And you could be thinking about your dream job. But the version of you that works at the dream job, it could be the exact same version of you that works at this job if you don't take the action to leap from here to here, right? Because wherever you go, there you are. So in order to receive the abundance of the new opportunity, you need to meet it now by showing up as the version of yourself that can receive it. Because otherwise, you'll receive it for a moment, but you'll lose it. You won't be able to hold it. It'll be like sand slipping through your fingers. Why? Because you did not learn the foundational tools and your actual most coherent, aligned, stoic, purposeful self that isn't easily swayed by your environment and by the physical, right? And obviously we're physical, human, emotional beings. But if you are so quick to say you get a deposit of 10K and you blow the 10K on a bag, you did not grow into the person while you were broke that could hold and steward the 10K. Does that make sense? So in this season, it's super important that you work on meeting your own standards, meeting the standards God has set for you, and hitting the points that He's asked you to hit. Because once you are in the next season, the one that you've been praying for, the one you've been envisioning, the one that sounds idealistic, it won't be that if you are not the version of you that can receive and hold that. And a lot of people get successful or blessed in some way, and their blessing is squandered because they did not learn how to hold that responsibility, right? With great power comes great responsibility, right? It reminds me of one of my favorite movies is The Wolf of Wall Street. Comment down below Wolf if you love The Wolf of Wall Street too, because I love that movie. I love that movie. I love beautiful movies. I love beautiful people. And I love human psychology and sociology. So you put all that together in this like mess of The Wolf of Wall Street and you get quite a masterpiece. But anyway, in the movie, Leo's character gets super successful and it happens kind of fast. Like he's creeping along for like the first 40 minutes. But then pretty quickly, his company's popping off. They're throwing these wild parties. He's finding more government loopholes. And soon we're on his yacht. Soon we're meeting Margot Robbie at his birthday party. And at that point, he was still married, right? So what I'm saying is, in all the time, but he was still the humble, trying to figure it out, family man of the beginning of the movie. He wasn't thinking, how am I going to hold this much wealth once I achieve it? He didn't even realize what was possible until a little ways in, right? But if at the time when he was still not doing great, if he was thinking, I want to be financially free, and with that freedom, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, his lusts of the flesh wouldn't have gotten to him so bad to destroy his marriage and ultimately destroy the life that he built with Margot Robbie's character, Naomi, if he as he would if he had become the more grounded version of himself beforehand. But instead, he gained everything, lost everything, and was forced to rebuild almost from scratch and contend with all of his losses because he didn't do that work to begin with, right? So the Lord is giving me, and probably you too, if you're still here, an excellent opportunity with this season, guys, because it's not just daydreaming time, it's showing up time. You know what I mean? It's rehearsal time. It's time to prep and prime our subconscious to be the person that we already know we are. You know what I mean? Look at how I'm dressed today. Today, I undid the buttons for you guys because like office siren vibes, but just know it was buttoned to the top, like Miss Lily Rose, to the top, okay? Because I was working. I had a student doing private tutoring. And I showed up like I would, business Barbie, you know what I mean? Still Barbie, just a different hat. And his mom, the student's mom, was looking at me kind of crazy. And I was like, this was our first time meeting in person, by the way. We've communicated over Zoom, but like, this is the first time we were in person, okay? And she was looking at me kind of crazy, but I wanted to say, like, you booked grace, and this is grace, and it's bigger than you. This moment tutoring your son is wonderful, and I'm thankful for it, but I'm meeting it while thinking of the version of myself that is way beyond this position. It's just me training myself. How do I show up professionally? Because this is my opportunity. Now, I could have showed up with jeans and a t-shirt on, and as long as I was clean and fairly modest, I'm sure I still would have had the opportunity, right? But would I have made the same impression, not just on the student, not just on his mother, but on myself? Because every time you show up as the version of yourself that you see in your mind, that you journal about, and that you look at on Pinterest, these other women actually living that life and embodying that look or whatever it is, and you like think about this in terms of yourself, every time you show up actually as that version of yourself or the closest you can get that day, you are training your mind, your body, and your spirit to recognize her so that it's easier to not self-sabotage, because this is just who you are, right? You're practicing. Whoever you are now is something that's been practiced, and who you will be next is someone who also has to be practiced, okay? And that sounds like borderline kind of fake or contrived, but if you want to think about this more, I highly encourage you to read the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, because he talks a lot in that book about how your personality is less about you and more about the way that you've wired yourself through repetition, practice, habits, routines. So you can change a lot of who you are, at least early on in life. It's harder, obviously, the longer time you spent practicing something. But if you start right now, imagine how much you could be closer to the version of yourself you'd really respect a year from now because you had been practicing all of this year. Does that make sense? So I just want to encourage you with that and say, don't drop your standards to match the surrounding, because then everything else will fall. You will not be the version of yourself that can hold what you want if you stay the version of yourself that is shrunken and dismissed by yourself the way that you have been, maybe by your environment, because then your fire will go out. And the Lord can't bless you if you're not ready to be blessed, if nothing's in action and nothing's moving, right? Same thing with this channel. I could say, Lord, I really want to make a difference. Please use my voice and use this channel for your glory. But if I'm not posting the content, what is he supposed to do? Genuinely, like, what's supposed to happen? A bunch of videos aren't going to supernaturally pop up on my channel that I didn't film and record and upload. It takes me putting in some effort. So keep putting in the effort. Even if nobody else sees it, your subconscious sees everything, your body feels everything, and you owe it to yourself to show up. So I pray that you choose to do that in some way for yourself today. Tell me how. If you'd like, drop it in the comments. Like, I worked today. I showed up looking hot and professional. I went for my walk today. That was investment in my body. I read my Bible today. That's investment in my spirit, right? And I'm talking to you, and that's an investment in this channel and you and in me getting out of my own head enough to actually be used by the Lord. So all of this for his glory. But thanks for chatting. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. All right? Bye.